Those near the door, if it's too tight, you can bring your chair to the center here and face the altar if it's too tight, so you're not blocking the exit. So please sit, bring your chair to the center here and just sit facing, just fill that up. So you're not blocking the passage. Yeah, there you go. Come on in. Yeah, you can bring more chair. There you go. So it's not too crowded there for you. Because we'll have incense offering and we'll need some space. There's some more seats up here on this side, if they want to come up. You can come all the way up here. There's seats up here. Yeah. We come back to our breathing, come back to our posture. We can close our eyes. We can put the book down to the side. We won't use that yet. So free your hand. We come back to our breath. With our eyes closed, we come back to our inner awareness, no longer wandering, looking about. Enjoy sitting still. who are new to the recitation ceremony, we'll be beginning with a incense offering, and that involves some touching the earth, prostrating to the ground, and that's just to pay tribute and to all our ancestors, our teachers who have transmitted the teachings and the practices down to us. So it looks kind of a little bit like worshiping, but it is paying tribute and expressing our gratitude. So we'll offer incense, and the prostration is also to an expression of gratitude to our ancestor. And it's a kind of humbling posture to, lay our body down to the ground to express our deep sincerity, our thanks to all our teachers who passed down all this wonderful tradition. So after that, we'll do chanting in Vietnamese. Also, chanting there is for us, the community, to harmonize and to have a common voice to express these teachings in chanting form. And then we'll have the recitation of the Five Mindfulness Training in English. And so that when you hear the recitation, you can follow in the text after. And it's when you do recitation, it's a chance for us to collectively look at our lives at home and society. So when you hear it being read, you follow it, and some words might stand out and it will speak to you. It will reveal, if you're lucky, it can shine light on your actions, your behavior, your speech, and things that you're doing at home that might need some light, and you'll have some insight about that. And so that's a kind of recitation is a deep looking. So when we recite it and we follow word for word, these words can have the ability to touch something in us. So it's a kind of reflection, deep looking. So that's how you can practice, and you follow, and don't let your mind wander. You might have a chance to realize something. So try to keep your best to be present with every activity that will happen, and you might realize something because you're present with yourself and with the community and the ceremony. So that's how we practice when we participate in a ceremony, is deep looking at ourselves. So please, if you don't know what to do, it's okay. You just follow and just flow with the energy, and everything is correct. So you need to smile and don't have so much tension. Some of you are new, so just flow with as a collective, and enjoy your breathing for the whole ceremony, and being aware of your body and relax and so on.
khỏi hương thơm này cũng thịnh được Thế Tôn. Có mặt với chúng con nơi đạo tràng ở đây trong giây phút hiện tại. Nguyện khói hương thơm này tỏa ngát cả mười phương, thân tình chốn đạo tràng giúp chúng con duy trì chánh kiến chánh tư duy. Nguyện khói hương thơm này bảo hộ cho chúng con vững chãi và thành thơi, hiểu nhau và thương nhau bây giờ và mãi mãi. Hương giới định và tuệ là tâm hương nhiệm màu, chúng con kính dâng hương lên Bụt và chư vị Bồ Tát trong thế giới mười phương. Nguyện mọi loài chúng sanh thấy được ánh đạo vàng, ly khai nẻo sanh tử hướng về nẻo Bồ Đề, thường trú trong an lạc. Nam mô Bồ Tát cúng dường hương, Nam mô Bồ Tát cúng dường hương, Nam mô Bồ Tát cúng dường hương. Xin tốt như hoa sen rạng ngời như bắt đầu thu, xin quay về nương nấu bậc thầy của nhân thiên. Sen quý nợ đai giác ngộ hào quang chiếu rạng mười phương, trí tuệ vượt tâm pháp giới, từ bi thâm nhuận non sông. Vừa thấy dung nhan điều ngữ trăm ngàn phiền não sạch không, hướng về tán dương công đức tinh chuyên đạo nghiệp vun trồng. Nam mô Đức Bổn Sư Bụt Sa Kia Mâu Ni. Nhân tâm kính lễ Bụt Pháp và Tăng Thượng trụ trong mười phương. Bụt Sa Kya Mâu Ni. Nhân tâm kính lễ liệt vị tổ sư qua các thời đại, từ Tây Trung cho đến Việt Nam.
So we can now take our book and turn to page 4 and 5. Those who have the books already. And the format is that on the left side is Vietnamese and the right side is English, so you can follow in parallel. We'll be chanting in Vietnamese and then we'll recite in English. So you can follow the Vietnamese on the left or you can get the translation on the right. And we'll just move from there, from page 4 to 5 in a similar way. Yeah.
Sangha Karman procedure. Has the entire community assembled?
Yes, the entire community has assembled.
Is there harmony in the community?
Yes, there is harmony.
Is there anyone not able to be present who has asked to be represented, and have they declared themselves to have done their best to study and practice the 5 mindfulness trainings?
No, there is not.
What is the reason for the community gathering today?
The community has gathered to perform the Sangha Karman procedure for reciting the 5 mindfulness trainings.
Noble community, please listen. Today, July 16th in the year 2023 has been declared to be the Mindfulness Trainings Recitation Day. We have gathered at the appointed time. The Noble community is ready to hear and recite the mindfulness trainings in an atmosphere of harmony. Thus, the recitation can proceed. Is this statement clear and complete? Brothers and sisters, it is now time to recite the 5 mindfulness trainings. The 5 mindfulness trainings represent the Buddhist vision for a global spirituality and ethic. They are a concrete expression of the Buddha's teachings on the 4 Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, the path of right understanding and true love, leading to healing, transformation, and happiness for ourselves and for the world. To practice the 5 mindfulness trainings is to cultivate the insight of interbeing, or right view, which can remove all discrimination, intolerance, anger, fear, and despair. If we live according to the 5 mindfulness trainings, we are already on the path of a bodhisattva. Knowing we are on that path, we are not lost in confusion about our life in the present or in fears about the future. We ask the community to listen with a serene mind. Consider the mindfulness trainings as a clear mirror in which to look at ourselves. Say yes silently every time you see that during the past month you have made an effort to study, practice, and observe the mindfulness training read. The first mindfulness training, Reverence for life. Aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life, I am committed to cultivating the insight of interbeing and compassion and learning ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I am determined not to kill, not to let others kill, and not to support any act of killing in the world, in my thinking, or in my way of life. Seeing that harmful actions arise from anger, fear, greed, and intolerance, which in turn come from dualistic and discriminative thinking, I will cultivate openness, non-discrimination, and non-attachment to views in order to transform violence, fanaticism, and dogmatism in myself and in the world. This is the first of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Have you made an effort to study, practice, and observe it during the past month?
The second mindfulness training, true happiness. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I am committed to practicing generosity in my thinking, speaking, and acting. I am determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others, and I will share my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in need. I will practice looking deeply to see that the happiness and suffering of others are not separate from my own happiness and suffering. That true happiness is not possible without understanding and compassion, and that running after wealth, fame, power, and sensual pleasures can bring much suffering and despair. I'm aware that happiness depends on my mental attitude and not on external conditions, and that I can live happily in the present moment simply by remembering that I already have more than enough conditions to be happy. I'm committed to practicing right livelihood so that I can help reduce the suffering of living beings on earth, stop contributing to climate change, and heal and preserve our precious planet. This is the second of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Have you made an effort to study, practice, and observe it during the past month?
The third mindfulness training, true love. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I am committed to cultivating responsibility and learning ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. Knowing that sexual desire is not love and that sexual activity motivated by craving always harms myself as well as others, I am determined not to engage in sexual relations without mutual consent, true love, and a deep, long-term commitment. I resolve to find spiritual support for the integrity of my relationship from family members, friends, and Sangha with whom there is support and trust. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. Seeing that body and mind are interrelated, I am committed to learn appropriate ways to take care of my sexual energy and to cultivate the 4 basic elements of true love: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and inclusiveness, for the greater happiness of myself and others. Recognizing the diversity of human experience, I am committed not to discriminate against any form of gender identity or sexual orientation. Practicing true love, we know that we will continue beautifully into the future. This is the third of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Have you made an effort to study, practice, and observe it during the past month?
The 4th mindfulness training, loving speech and deep listening. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I am committed to cultivating loving speech and compassionate listening in order to relieve suffering and to promote reconciliation and peace in myself and among other people, ethnic and religious groups and nations. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am committed to speaking truthfully, using words that inspire confidence, joy, and hope. When anger is manifesting in me, I am determined not to speak. I will practice mindful breathing and walking in order to recognize and to look deeply into my anger. I know that the roots of anger can be found in my wrong perceptions and lack of understanding of the suffering in myself and in the other person. I will speak and listen in the way that can help myself and the other person to transform suffering and see the way out of difficult situations. I am determined not to spread news that I do not know to be certain and not to utter words that can cause division or discord. I will practice right diligence to nourish my capacity for understanding, love, joy, and inclusiveness, and gradually transform anger, violence, and fear that lie deep in my consciousness. This is the 4th of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Have you made an effort to study, practice, and observe it during the past month?
The fifth mindfulness training, nourishment and healing. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I am committed to cultivating good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and consuming. I will practice looking deeply into how I consume the 4 kinds of nutriments, namely edible foods, sense impressions, volition, and consciousness. I am determined not to gamble or to use alcohol, drugs, or any other products which contain toxins, such as certain websites, electronic games, TV programs, films, magazines, books, and conversations. I will practice coming back to the present moment to be in touch with the refreshing, healing, and nourishing elements in me and around me, not letting regrets and sorrow drag me back into the past, nor letting anxieties, fear, or craving pull me out of the present moment. I am determined not to try to cover up loneliness, anxiety, or other suffering by losing myself in consumption. I will contemplate interbeing and consume in a way that preserves peace, joy, and well-being in my body and consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family, my society, and the earth. This is the 5th of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Have you made an effort to study, practice, and observe it during the past month? Brothers and sisters, we have recited the 5 mindfulness trainings, the foundation of happiness for the individual, the family, and society. We should recite them regularly so that our study and practice of the mindfulness trainings can deepen day by day.